Talk to me, Boulder.
Glad to be back. We never start recruiting, so I haven't left doing that.
Today, we're going to chop it up with our guy, TJ, from College Football Addiction, because a lot of stuff's been happening with the Buffs over the last week or two, and we've got to dive into it. TJ, how's it going today?
Man, I'm good. What do we got? 5-6 days till Christmas, bro? Like, things are crazy in the house. All the kids are home. It's insane, but it's all good. College football's insane right now. The portal's insane. The playoffs this weekend. It's all nuts, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. The portal is insane, and honestly, the Buffs have done some damage in that bad boy. And that's what I want to get with you to talk about the big pickups that I feel like the Buffs snatched out of the portal. You know, you've got, Reginald Hughes recently, Jaheim Otis from Alabama, which was pretty massive. But I think one that jumped out the most to me is Kaden Salter. So Kaden Salter, the quarterback from Liberty, who has put up some numbers while he was there, over 6,000 total yards at quarterback there, over 60 touchdowns. And TJ, now that Shedeur Sanders is gone, it appears that the battle between Julian Lewis and Kaden Salter is going to start. But I feel like it makes more sense for Kaden to really end up winning the helm. What do you see with a player like that and what that can do for the Buffs?
So I don't know if you know this. I don't know if the audience knows this at all. I'm a Liberty grad. Like, I went to Liberty. So I watch all their games. I watch a lot of college football too, though. So, like, I'm a true degenerate. But, like, I've watched almost every game that Kaden Salter has played because I am a Liberty grad. So, yeah, I didn't even think about to talk to you about that before I came on. And so, yeah, I love the pickup. I think it's huge. Now, I will say, I'll preface it a little bit by saying Kaden had a rough year this year, and the team in general did. They lost some games they really shouldn't have. They lost like a 1-9 Kennesaw State. Like, they lost some games they shouldn't have, and he didn't play his best. But the talent around him was also just a tick down from where it had been. But in the past, like, he's shown the propensity to be really, really good. And when he was playing under Hugh Freeze was up there, he was incredible, right? And he put up some just monster numbers. And though he regressed, I think, a little bit this year, he's still really good and he's still really capable. And when you get him out to Boulder and you surround him with some of the talent that they're going to have there, again, I like Liberty. I'm very biased. I'm a homer for them. Their talent was down some this year, and their talent is not anywhere close to what he'll be playing with in Boulder. I think that he has a huge bounce back year if he is the starting quarterback for them. You asked about Julian Lewis to talk about that a little bit. The one thing I will say is there's been a narrative online, I think, of like, oh, look at Coach Prime said that Julian was going to be the guy, and then he's bringing in a transfer quarterback, this, that, and the other. If Coach Prime has not taught y'all something yet or proven something, he does not care who you are. He took away everybody's numbers when he got to Boulder. He said, he doesn't care if you're Julian Lewis. He doesn't care if you're Tom Brady. He doesn't care if you're Kaden Salter. The best guy's going to play. And if Juju comes in and wins out that job, he's going to play. Now, unprofessional opinion here, do I think it would benefit Julian Lewis to not be thrown to the Wolves game one, to learn behind a guy that's got 1 billion career starts and 1 billion career yards and get to see him play and then get in some different packages? College football is so different now. Like, look at Texas throwing Arch Manning in at different times, and look at different programs, Penn State using their backups. Even Florida, before Mertz ultimately went down, was using DJ Lagway, a 5-star quarterback. So college football is so different now that I don't think it's like, oh, you're this starter, you're a clipboard holder over here. So don't rule out both of them playing at times. Don't rule out like, oh, he just doesn't care about Juju because he brought in Salter. No, you had a chance to improve that quarterback room. You went out and got one of the best guys in the portal. You went out and got a guy who is absolutely going to have a positive impact on Juju Lewis. And so, yeah, this was, I know I know that Oklahoma made a pretty big splash too with their quarterback, but this was one of the best potential options out there for quarterbacks. And Coach Prime, again, not to make a baseball pun on a football channel, but because it was Coach Prime, will allow it, hit an absolute home run with this quarterback pickup.
Yeah, huge home run, and you said it perfectly. Don't rule out the fact that Juju's going to be on the field. There's going to be moments where they're going to definitely play him. they're not going to limit their mind and say only one guy can be on the field. This isn't the Shedeur Sanders situation where you want him in the game at all times. Now I feel like Colorado's going to try to be a lot more balanced in comparison. Good quarterback play, good running, and all of that. And you're right. So, like, when it came to Kaden, he did have a struggle. He dropped about 1,000 yards in his passing yards on the season, about half the touchdowns from 32 to 15. About same in interceptions, but he fumbles a bit. I mean, I think he's like 22 fumbles in his career, but I'll say this. He plays with an urgency that looks like he's out there to ball. Like you said, the year before, he had 1,000 yards rushing. This year, half as many. And so the talent wasn't around him, but now coming to Colorado, the talent's going to be a lot better in comparison, especially the way that Prime is hitting the portal. He's talked about that before. He in the portal, and he's already got his people that he's looking at. They've been working the portal like crazy. But right now, this is kind of surprising to me. Colorado's only sitting with about 8 new players in the portal. And a little bit lighter than I expected, but picking up Kaden Salter, the top defensive player in Jaheim Otis, big dude, out of Alabama. And honestly, one of the underrated pickups they got to me was Makari Vickers at corner, who's from Florida, played at Oklahoma, and he's young. So you guys have a young corner, a quarterback that's going to get you. And all you're getting is one more year out of Kaden Salter. He's only got 1 year left. So you make that great point that you're going to have to prepare Julian Lewis regardless because you've only got 1 more year left with this other quarterback, but it gives a great bridge for what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and you mentioned just the limited numbers. I think that because of what Coach Prime has built, this isn't the full-on rebuild that the first couple of years were, right? Like, he has his core. He has his base. He knows kind of what he's got out of players, the improvement along the offensive line, the improvement on defense. Like, he's got a lot of that talent already there in Boulder, and so he doesn't need to go out and get 40 guys out of the portal like he's had to do the last couple of years. I mean, you remember it's been talked about a million times, but you remember what Colorado's done in going from 1 win to 4 wins to now 9, maybe 10 in a bowl. They don't need this massive overhaul. And so it's allowed them to go out and use their resources and use their time and use their effort to go get one of the best defensive linemen in the portal in Otis, and one of the most promising quarterbacks in Kaden Salter. Obviously, you mentioned Vickers. And so, yeah, they are absolutely just going for pieces to take them to the next level. It's not, hey, we need to overhaul this thing and rebuild a program. No, the program's there. The program's been built. We need a couple of tweaks to get us from that 9-win mark to 10-11 next year, to not have the letdown against both teams from Kansas, to make a Big 12 championship. And so, yeah, I think they're in a mode right now of just like, yeah, we just need to tinker with a couple of things. We're going to get who we want. We're going to go out and make big splashes, but it's not this overhaul that they've had to do before.
Yeah, that is the biggest point. It seems like they've set the foundation properly. They tried it the first year. They built the foundation, and it just wasn't as stable as they wanted. Year 2, get even heavier in the portal, bring even more people freshing in and out, but also keeping some guys and getting some really good freshmen to join. And it feels like that foundation is definitely built. Man, we had TJ here from College Football Addiction. TJ, man, I appreciate you pulling up. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, like you said, College Football Addiction here on YouTube. You can come check us out. We do a lot of national stuff, but we throw some Buffs love in there once or twice a week too. So come check us out, College Football Addiction. If you have another team you support in addition to Coach Prime, we probably talk about your team too. So come hang out with us.
Yep, it's right in the description below. So thank y'all for pulling up. We'll have some more videos coming down the line. So just stick around. Me and TJ is going to do a lot more mashups, and yeah, we'll talk soon.